The sky above Zithera 7 was torn in shades of red and black. Smoke rose from craters and burning buildings. The alien city, usually shining like a jewel among the desert sands, now looked like a battlefield. Captain Jaren, a human soldier in the Interstellar Alliance, crouched behind a shattered wall. His armor was scratched and scorched, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Around him, the cries of wounded aliens and the rumble of distant energy weapons filled the air. Jaren was not new to war. He had fought across many planets, but Zithera 7 was different. The aliens here were elegant, tall beings, with silver-blue skin and bright, glowing eyes. They called themselves the Liari, and their planet had a beauty and culture that humans rarely saw. Jaren admired it, even now, amid chaos. "Jaren!" a voice called. It was Lieutenant Kira, a young human medic. She pointed toward a clearing ahead where the enemy forces, a swarm of insect-like invaders known as the Varkons, were advancing. "They're moving toward the palace. The princess is there!" Jaren's heart skipped a beat. The Princess Lyra, the Liari leader's only daughter, was in danger. She was more than a symbol to these people. She was their hope. If she died, morale would collapse. And if morale collapsed, the entire planet might fall to the Varkons. Jaren didn't hesitate. "Cover me!" he shouted to Kira and the other soldiers. He sprinted across the rubble-strewn street, ducking under energy blasts and dodging falling debris. His pulse raced, but he stayed focused. Every step mattered. When he reached the palace gates, the scene was worse than he imagined. Princess Lyra lay on the ground, her silver-blue skin streaked with dark blood. Energy weapons had pierced her armor, and she struggled to breathe. Her luminous eyes, usually bright and full of authority, now looked frightened and weak. "Princess!" Jaren shouted. He dropped beside her, scanning her injuries. "Medic!" Kira ran to her side, pulling out a portable medkit. She worked quickly, applying patches and bandages, but Jaren could see it wasn't enough. Lyra was fading fast. Her life force was slipping away like sand through fingers. "Her blood type," Kira muttered, panicked. "It's not compatible with any of our standard transfusions. Nothing here will save her in time." Jaren looked at Lyra. Her breathing was shallow, almost a whisper. "Then we try something else," he said. His voice was firm, calm. "I'll do it." Kira's eyes widened. "You—" "What? Captain?" "It's too risky. We don't know what it might do." Jaren didn't answer. He already knelt next to her, checking her pulse. It was weak, almost gone. "If we wait, she dies," he said. "If I try, maybe we save her. That's all I care about." He ripped open a small emergency kit he carried on his armor. The Liari blood system was different from humans. But Jaren had studied alien physiology in training. There was a tiny chance his own blood could stabilize her, just long enough to get her to safety. It was dangerous, but it was the only chance. Lyra's eyes flickered at him, barely conscious. Jaren placed his hand on her arm. "I'll keep you alive, Princess. Trust me." For a moment, silence fell over the battlefield. The explosions and shouts faded in Jaren's mind. All that existed was her fragile form in front of him. He took a deep breath and connected the transfusion line, allowing his blood to flow into her veins. At first, nothing happened. Lyra's chest rose and fell weakly, her body trembling. Jaren gritted his teeth. "Come on. Come on," he whispered. Then slowly a faint glow appeared in her eyes. Her breathing steadied, just slightly, and her body stopped shaking. She wasn't out of danger, but she was alive. Kira gasped. "It's working!" Jaren allowed himself a brief sigh of relief, but there was no time to celebrate. The Varkons were still advancing, and the palace was not safe. He lifted Lyra gently into his arms. "We need to move, now!" The escape was perilous. Jaren dodged blasts, ran through corridors of smoke, and guided Lyra toward the underground tunnels beneath the palace. Her small hands clutched his armor. Though she was barely conscious, her eyes kept looking at him, as if recognizing something deep inside him. As they reached the tunnels, Lyra whispered weakly, "Human? Why?" Jaren smiled faintly, ignoring the pain in his own body from exhaustion. "Because I don't leave anyone behind." The tunnel opened into a hidden chamber used by the royal family in emergencies. It was dimly lit, but secure. Jaren laid Lyra on a soft mat, checking her vital signs again. "You're stable, princess. You're going to make it." She turned her head slightly, her glowing eyes studying him. "I feel strange," she murmured. "Human. Blood." "It's okay," Jaren said gently. "It saved your life. That's all." Lyra tried to sit up, but couldn't. She looked at him with intensity. "Saved me. You must stay." Her words were weak, broken. Jaren frowned. He shook his head slightly. "No, princess. I'm not going to stay trapped down here. We need to plan our next move. Get you back to the surface safely." But Lyra's hand shot out, gripping his armor. Even with her weak strength, the hold was firm. "No. Leave. Not allowed," she whispered. Jaren blinked, surprised. He had never seen an alien react this way. "Lyra, you're safe now. You're alive. That's what matters." She shook her head slowly. "Alive? Because you... human... mine..." Jaren's heart tightened. There was something unexplainable in her words, some strange bond forming because of the transfusion. He had read reports of genetic resonance in rare human-alien pairings, but this was the first time he had seen it. Somehow, his blood had not only saved her life, it had created a connection. Before he could speak, the walls of the chamber shook. The Varkons had discovered the escape route. Their piercing screeches echoed through the tunnels. Jaren stood, lifting Lyra carefully. "We have to move. Now!" Kira appeared behind him, holding a small energy rifle. "Captain, we'll cover you!" Jaren nodded. He ran ahead, taking turns and twists through the labyrinth of tunnels. Lyra's fingers tightened on his shoulder every time a blast shook the stone walls. The bond between them grew stronger with each step, unspoken but powerful. Finally, they reached a hidden exit leading to a dense forest outside the city. The night air was cold but fresh. Stars shone brightly, unmarred by smoke. Jaren breathed in, trying to calm himself. Lyra stirred in his arms, weak but alert. "You're safe now," he said, setting her down against a tree. "I won't let anything happen to you." Her glowing eyes met his. "You gave me blood, human, life. Now, mine, forever." Jaren frowned, unease creeping in. This was not just gratitude, it was something else. Something alien, deep, and personal. He didn't fully understand it, but he felt it too. A strange, invisible bond forming between them. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the forest. A small patrol of Varkons had followed them. Jaren raised his weapon, ready to fight. "Kira, shield her!" Lyra struggled to stand, but then something incredible happened. Her weak voice called out, and a shimmering shield of energy rose around them. It was faint, unstable, but real. Jaren stared, amazed. The transfusion had not only saved her life, it had awakened something in her body, some latent power. The Varkons screeched in frustration and retreated, unwilling to risk a direct fight with this unexpected energy. Jaren lowered his weapon, breathing heavily. He looked at Lyra, who leaned against the tree, exhausted but glowing faintly. "This bond. It's more than blood," he murmured. Lyra's eyes met his again, full of intensity. "You saved me. Human. Now, stay. Forever." Jaren realized that life had changed. What began as a battlefield act of bravery had created something neither human nor Lyari fully understood. A connection stronger than life itself. And he knew deep down that the journey ahead would test both of them in ways the galaxy had never seen. For now, though, they were alive. And in the darkness of Zithera 7's forest, that was enough. The forest outside Zithera 7's palace was quiet now, except for the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of alien machinery. Captain Jaren sat against a broad tree trunk, keeping a careful eye on Princess Lyra. She leaned against him, pale but breathing steadily. Even after the Varkans had retreated, her strength did not return fully. Jaren studied her carefully. "Lyra, you need rest," he said gently. "The blood transfusion worked, but your body is still weak. You must stay still for now." Lyra's glowing eyes opened slowly. She lifted her head and looked directly at him. "I cannot sleep far from you," she whispered. Her voice was faint but determined. Jaren blinked. He had seen many brave warriors, humans and aliens alike, but this intensity was unlike anything he had encountered. "You're safe. I'm right here," he said, resting his hand on her arm. Hours passed in silence. Jaren tried to allow Lyra some space, but she refused to let him move far. Whenever he shifted even slightly, she reached for him. She ate almost nothing, drank little, and yet her eyes never left him. By dawn, the forest was bathed in silver light. Jaren helped Lyra to a small clearing where they could rest more comfortably. Kira had managed to get some portable supplies from the battlefield: simple food, clean water, and medical equipment. "Princess," Jaren said softly, offering her water, "you must eat. Your body needs energy to recover." Lyra shook her head. "I cannot, without human near." Jaren frowned. He had studied alien physiology, but nothing in the manuals had prepared him for this. It was as if the transfusion had done more than save her life. It had created a bond that Lyra could not ignore. And somehow, he felt it too. His mind was aware of her presence in ways he couldn't explain. He sighed, sitting back against a tree. "I guess we'll take it slow," he muttered. "Step by step." Later, the Liari Royal Council arrived. They had traced the escape route and were now here, accompanied by armored guards. Their silver-blue skin glimmered in the early morning light, and their eyes shone with suspicion. "Princess Lyra," said Eldon, the council leader, his voice cold and measured, "are you unharmed? And why is the human soldier here?" Lyra tried to sit upright but faltered. Jaren stepped forward instinctively, steadying her. "I saved her life," he said calmly. "The transfusion was the only way." The council's eyes narrowed. They were silent for a moment. Then Eldon spoke again. "You mean his blood flowed in her veins? This is unprecedented, dangerous. The human may have affected her physiology." Jaren met Eldon's gaze steadily. "It saved her life. That's all that matters." Lyra's voice, though weak, was firm. My life cannot leave." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had never seen such devotion between human and Liari, and the words Lyra spoke hinted at something more than gratitude, something permanent. Eldon stepped closer. "Princess, this human, he is not of our kind. His presence may endanger you, or worse, our people. You must release him." Lyra shook her head with surprising strength. "Cannot. Life, human, saved. Now, mine, forever." Jaren's heart tightened. The bond was stronger than he had imagined. This was no longer simple gratitude or trust. The transfusion had created a link neither of them fully understood, a connection that seemed to span mind and body, emotion and instinct. Kira whispered to him, "Captain, what do we do? The council may force us apart." Jaren's jaw tightened. We don't leave her. Not now. Not ever. Over the next few days, the alien scientists studied Lyra carefully. They ran scans, measured her vitals, and examined her neural activity. What they found shocked them. Her body, it reacts to his presence, said Dr. Sellis, a leading scientist. Her heart rate, brain activity, and energy levels stabilize only when he is near. Even minor distance causes stress responses. This is a bond stronger than any recorded in Lyari history. Eldan scowled. It is unnatural. We cannot allow a human to have such influence over our princess. Lyra's hand shot out instinctively, clutching Jaren's arm. Unnatural, human, life, saved, cannot leave. Jaren's eyes met hers. He knew arguing now would be pointless. She wasn't just speaking words. Her body, her mind, and even her spirit were intertwined with his. The council reluctantly allowed Jaren to stay, though under strict supervision. Jaren found himself attending meetings, council sessions, and strategy discussions he had never expected to be part of. Lyra insisted, often ignoring her own weakness, that he remain near her at all times. At first, he struggled with alien politics. The Lyari were precise, logical, and often inflexible. But Jaren had something they lacked: human adaptability and intuition. He began to offer suggestions during discussions, using strategies he had learned in countless battles across the galaxy. Slowly, the council started to see value in his presence. One evening, Lyra leaned on him as they walked through the palace gardens. Her glow was faint, but steady. Human. Life. Changed. Forever. I feel strong. Near you. Jaren smiled gently. You're getting stronger, Princess. Your body is healing faster than anyone expected. But only near you, she said softly. If you go, I weaken. He paused. Lyra, I don't plan to leave, but this bond, it's new to both of us. We need to understand it together. She looked at him, her eyes full of emotion. Together, always. As days passed, the connection became more apparent. Lyra's recovery accelerated when Jaren was near. Her strength, energy, and even her reflexes improved dramatically. Together, they practiced combat simulations, with Jaren showing her human techniques, while Lyra demonstrated her alien agility and strategy. During one such session, a small group of Varkon scouts attempted another attack. Lyra and Jaren fought side by side. Their coordination was seamless, almost instinctual. Lyra anticipated his movements, and he predicted hers. Even Kira, watching from a distance, was amazed. After the skirmish, Lyra turned to Jaren, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. Human, saved, life. Now, we fight, together, always. Jaren nodded, his heart heavy but determined. He understood now that the bond was more than physical or medical. It was emotional, mental, and perhaps even spiritual. Lyra could not survive without him, and he could not ignore the responsibility he now carried. That night, as they rested in a small chamber away from the palace, Lyra whispered again, barely audible. You, human, my, forever. Jaren took her hand gently. I'm here, Lyra. I'm not going anywhere. We'll face everything together. The stars outside shone brightly, and for the first time since the battle, Jaren felt a strange sense of hope. Humanity had survived countless challenges, but this was something new. A chance to save an alien civilization, not just with weapons or technology, but with courage, compassion, and a willingness to give everything, even life itself. And in that quiet, silver-lit chamber, Captain Jaren realized that his journey with Princess Lyra was only beginning. The bond between human and alien was now unbreakable, a symbol of hope and resilience that neither species could ignore.